This is a whole chicken, and any cook who's worth their salt has to know how to break one of these down into its various parts and pieces for literally thousands upon thousands of recipes. It's economic, it's good cooking, and breaking down a chicken is what we're going to do today on Too Haute to Handle. Okay, as we get started here, we'll need two things. One very sharp boning knife, or fillet knife, and a very sharp standard chef's knife, kitchen knife, for cracking the denser bones. At any rate, it's very simple. Basically, to take apart a chicken, we're not so much cutting it up as we are disjointing it. And by that, I mean we need to find the joints. So here it is, breast side up. Turn it breast side down so you've got the back. First thing to do is grab one of these wings and just crank it around like that. Now this would be like the underarm. If it was a person, this is where you apply the deodorant. Anyway, right there, you can see where it bends. That's the joint in there, and we're going to get our blade right in the middle of that joint. You see, all you got to do is break the skin, and you can see that bone there and that bone there. Just follow it right through, and there you have your first wing off. That easy. Do the same thing on the other side. Right in here, right to that joint. Two wings down. Moving on to the legs. Now, you'll see, push this skin down right there, and it makes a natural break. All you got to do is pierce that skin just a little bit, and that gives you enough room to take this leg and bend it back, and you can pop that joint right out. That's the end of the thigh bone there. It's already dislocated from the rest of the carcass. So take your knife up here and just follow it right in. Now in the back, you want to make sure you get that little oyster, what they call that little hunk of meat there. It's very succulent off the back. There you have leg and thigh together. Do it right on the other side again. See, this is going very quickly. There are so many good reasons to do this. One, chicken is just the currency of the kitchen, I call it. It lends itself to so many thousands and thousands of recipes because it has such a mild flavor that you can use just about any recipe, any way of treatment, and it'll go well. Now, what's left over is this carcass. We've got the breast on the top, and you'll see the chicken kind of gives us a roadmap. This little line of fat right here is the perfect place to cut it. It's got some ribs in there, so I'm going to use a little stronger knife. Right in there. Bam. Right on the other side, that same line of fat there. It's a perfect guide to where to cut. Right through there. Now this is the back. Just break it. And right through there. I'm going to put this in a little bowl on the side, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Now, let's assume we're doing boneless, skinless breast for this one. So we can just take this skin right off. Comes off fairly easily. And we're not throwing any of this away. We're going to save it all because every single bit of this chicken is useful in one way or the other. And as we go along, I'll show you various uses. And that's the skin there. Skin off. Go back to our fillet knife, and there is kind of a natural separation, a little seam that goes right down the middle of the two breasts where it hugs to the breastbone, and we're going to take those right off. Just taking off some of these filaments. So with your sharp knife, just divide it right down the middle, and we'll go left side first. You can get your fingers in there, and under here is the backbone and the rib cage, and you want to just keep your knife very close to the bone. Make short little cuts at first. There's the wishbone here coming out from under that, and then stay close and just kind of peel it backwards as you go, and that whole breast will just come right off. Easy as that. So there's basically your breast, and under here, these loose parts, this is your tenderloin, or what they would call chicken tenders. One piece of there, and one boneless piece of breast. Then you do the same thing on the other side. Straight down that backbone, that keel bone there. Keep your knife close to the bone with short little cuts, and it just falls right away. Voila, that easy. Now don't throw this away, save it, because that is very critical for making chicken stock, so I just keep it in a bowl here. And again, these loose parts under here, that's your tenderloins, or I use them to make chicken nuggets for the kids. And let's take a look at what we have. There's a nice section of breast, another nice section of breast, tenderloins, tenderloins, and wings. Now, here's leg and thigh, and generally we want to separate those two. And again, nature has given us a calling card. We just follow the dotted line. Now, if you pull back this skin, it rolls away. Between the leg and the thigh, there's this little line of fat, and again, that's right where you want to cut it. So, and you can kind of feel in there too. You can feel this leg bone, you can feel the thigh bone there, and that is pretty much where they come together. So right on that line of fat, just go right through, and boom, that's as easy as that. And there's your leg. Here's your thigh. I'm going to boneless, skinless thighs, so I'm going to take that skin off there, trim that little bit of fat right there. Here's the thigh. Here's your leg. You can leave the skin on if you want to fry it. I'm doing some skinless application, so I can just peel that right off. Chicken leg. Do the same with the next one. Again, where these two bones meet, you see that line of fat, so that's your mark. That is right where it's going to want to naturally separate. Sometimes you can go from the top too, just to help find where the separation is. There you go. Boom. That easy. Chicken leg. Take the skin off the thigh. Come up that slight bit of fat there. So you can see it's pretty easily coming into parts. Now, one great reason for this is this chicken, it's a young chicken. I just bought it at the supermarket not too long ago. For the whole chicken, it's $1.98 a pound. For boneless, skinless breast, $3.98. No, for boneless, skinless thighs, $3.98 a pound. For boneless, skinless breast, almost $5 a pound. But if you do it yourself, you can get it for less than $2 a pound. There's your wing. You can separate these joints if you want to your standard wing and your drumette. Again, it's just feel where those bones come together and put your knife right in the middle of it. Sometimes, yeah, just give it a little help. Blade in between the two. This tip of the wing is really not used for not really any meat on it or anything, so I just take that off. It's part of the stock. Again, right there, if you're not exactly sure where to cut, you can again pop it till you see that bone come out, so you know that's where your knife blade needs to be, in between those two. Okay, drumette and chicken bone. So here we go. Thighs, legs, wing parts, two nice breast fillets, and your tenderloins. What did that take? Just a few minutes? And there's your whole chicken. dispatched, and you save a lot of money doing that. Okay? Okay, so with all those pieces cut up, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces of chicken. And once you've got them cut up, you can bag them up. I mean, you can use them all at once if you want to make a recipe that uses the whole chicken. Or you can bag them up, freeze them individually, and just pull out whichever section you want for whatever recipe you're making. More about that later. We'll have lots of ways to show you how to use these in coming episodes. But right now, I just want to get that out of the way for just a second to address this bowl of cutoffs. This is everything, every part of the chicken that we didn't use before. Lots of skin, excess fat, the carcass, backbone, the neck bone that came in there. Do not throw this away at all. This is culinary treasure. As I said before, chicken is the absolute currency of the kitchen because you can use it in so many ways, and it keeps going on and on and on. For example, I say don't throw this away because you will use this to make homemade chicken stock. And one chicken carcass is not exactly enough to do it, so I save them up. I freeze them in a 1-gallon zip-top kind of bag. This is one that's frozen right now that I just pulled out of the freezer, and I will add what we just cut up to it. Just put it right in there and save them, because chicken stock I use for so many things. I'll cook up a big batch of it once I have about 3 or 4 chickens saved, and put all that juice in there and everything. It's all treasure. And zip it up, throw that right in the freezer. Now, to make that chicken stock I'm talking about, I use a big stock pot about like this. And that's obviously more than you'd use in one recipe or setting, unless you're going to make a whole pot of soup, which occasionally I do. But for the most part, when I make a stock, I'll divide it up into portions and then freeze it. And I put it into little reusable containers like this. It's frozen, but that's about a 2-cup portion, which is just great for many recipes. You can thaw it out and just have plain chicken broth by itself. It can become another soup, a soup base for many kinds of soup, vegetable soups, meat soups, chicken noodle soups, on and on and on. I use it for flavoring and making sauces for 1,000 different recipes, for gravies, for volontés, you name it. And the best part of it, it is absolutely free when you make it yourself. And delicious, more tasty than anything you can buy in the store. Free versus buying a can of it or buying a box of it that costs many dollars. No good. Free. By yourself, it is free. As you make it out of these parts that you would ordinarily throw away. Don't throw them away, save them. Make your stock.